Okay, shalom, y'all. Shalom, everyone. Great to be with you. And as you all know, it's been a very tempestuous week. Um, we're listening to the back and forth here on the Israeli media. Is the situation presently a good situation or is it not a good situation? And I have to tell you, I listened to Michelle Bachmann, and I know you wanted a response. Um, And I love Michelle Bachmann very much, and she's very spot on. And Pastor Hibbs also. All of these people are great people. And I hope they invite me to their church one day. I haven't been there yet. Listen, I've been in this business 35 years, and there's always this balancing act that the presidents of America have to do. Um, in other words, is it money or is it God? And I know a lot of presidents believe in God. I think President Trump definitely believes in God. President Trump is the best president until now that Israel has ever had in the United States, where Biden was embargoing arms to Israel. And President Trump gave us everything we needed and more. I do agree with Michelle Bachmann that when you have big multi-million, multi-billion, multi-trillion, one second. Okay. Maybe we should hang up and everyone should go home and see the Michelle Bachmann message that she gave. So you want me to repeat her message first?
I think it would probably be good just maybe to give some of the high points of what she was talking about that you're referring to.
Well, that's what I'm in the process of
Yeah.
doing. It's just if you know Avi Lipkin, he always takes this very circuitous, roundabout route to get to the bottom line. Um, and but I want to remember Frank Sinatra. I want to do it my way. So I'm doing it my way. Um, in 1990, I came for the first time as a speaker in the U.S. I mean, I'm American. I moved to Israel in '68, but in 1990, I came for the first time, pretty much directly from the Prime Minister's office. And I happen to be, I don't know how many of you ever heard of Marlon Maddox. Marlon Maddox, very, very dear radio talk show host. My hostess in San Antonio drove with me 5 hours each way to attend a fundraiser for Marlon Maddox. And 6 months later, and I was on a show the next day. 6 months later, I was in Dallas, invited to speak before the Dallas Council on World Affairs. And I know I spoke about this on these Zooms many times. And I gave a very, very correct military message about why Israel cannot give up more land than it already has given up. And after I spoke, we had dinner, and then they said to me, Avi, you're a good speaker for Israel because you're American born and you don't have that funny Israeli accent or Russian accent like Yeltsin, or Arabic accents or English accents of the Queen. You speak Northern, it's true, it's Northern English, but we understand you. And he said, but you don't understand reality. Reality is number one, Israel is going to make peace with the Arabs, whether it likes it or not. Isn't that what we're hearing today? Israel has to make peace whether it likes it or not. And secondly, you're not going to give up 91% or 93% of the land. You're going to give up 100% of the land, and you're going to give the Arabs whatever they want. And because the only thing, okay, now listen, the only thing that made America great, according to the Dallas Council people, this is deep state people, this is one world government people, money people. They said the only thing that made America great was the barrel of oil, the steady price of oil, steady supply of oil, and we're not going to let the Jews get in the way of that. Is that clear? And so I said to them, are you saying that Israel is going to go through another Holocaust? And they said, yeah, now you got it. Go back and tell Shamir. That's what they said to me. And there was a guy there, Eric Gustafson, who was my host for the Marlon Maddox fundraiser in November 1990. And he got up shaking and he said to these people, "You call yourselves Christians? You should be ashamed of yourselves. What made America great was not the barrel of oil. What made America great was Jesus Christ." And he sat down. And then his daughter got up and said, "Those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed." And this basically is what Michelle Bachmann said in this church where she was. Um, in other words, the United States, as world power number one, is like this massive aircraft carrier, and the aircraft carrier plots a certain course, and it's not like a speedboat that you can turn on a dime. Uh, and she went on to talk about all of a sudden Israel is on the verge of victory in Gaza, and Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner, and President Trump are basically saying to Israel, "You cannot win this war. We're not going to let you." Because Hamas has received billions of dollars from Qatar, and the United States has received 200 billion, is it, or was it 2 trillion dollars, which go to the American universities. You know, all these riots in the American universities was paid for by Qatar. All the boards of education are bribed. I was in Texas just a few months ago, and I was in a home. I don't know how many of you know Jenny Johnson, but a lady showed up. I'd never met her before. And this lady got up and said that all of the politicians in Texas are bribed by Arab money. The whole country is bribed by money. And with me, because I'm a nobody, I go to these little home groups, and the group I'm speaking now is basically a home group. And I'm not being paid. I mean, I'm getting peanuts. The Muslims pay trillions of dollars. When President Trump came into office the second time, the debt was $17 trillion. No, was it 17? Yeah, 17. No, it was 35 trillion. And what Trump has done until now, as far as I know, is he has received 17 trillion. And he says by the end of the year, it's going to be $20 trillion. This money doesn't come from Israel. The money comes from the Arabs. And, Rachel and I monitor the Arabic broadcasts. And the plan of many of the Muslims is either America plays ball with the Muslims, or they'll pull out the one card that will bring the whole house of cards down, that the US government, the US economy will collapse. The dollar will collapse. So basically, because of the foolishness of the Democrats and the wastefulness of the Democrats, President Trump is fighting an impossible battle to keep America afloat. And for that, he has to work with the Muslims. So he has to walk a very, very thin a thin line between what God is saying, which is to support Israel, obviously, and what money of the Muslims who are led by Satan, Allah, the devil. Uh, and Trump is, I don't envy President Trump. He has a very difficult job. The American economy could be destroyed overnight if the Arabs decide pull out all their investments and not support the dollar anymore. Um, so Michelle Bachmann, let me tell you, she's a great woman. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. My approach is that I understand what Michelle Bachmann is saying, and it's true. However, there's also another side, and it's this kingdom. This kingdom is about money. And if America collapses, America will self-destruct from within. There may be a civil war. By the way, these elections in New York City coming up with Mamdani, this is a sign of the times that the United States is being taken over, and it will be taken over city by city by Muslim politicians because the Muslim population is growing. The Muslim financial investment is growing. Um, And I have to tell you something. I'm not complaining. I'm 76, almost 77. I'm still alive. People who sometimes talk too much just get killed. Miraculously, God has kept me alive. America is in grave danger. And what do I do in the churches? I warn about it. What do I try to do in the synagogues? Warn about it. But the synagogues won't even let me speak. And 99% of the churches won't let me speak. And it's Lori, you know very well. You even said to me that you guys are what you'd call a renegade. Um, uh, I see what Susan wrote to me. If America picks Mammon over Israel, we will collapse. That's also true. America is on a tight wire now. And what I think I see happening is President Trump is trying to get away from the edge of the cliff. But the problem is the Arabs are dictating, the Muslims are dictating to President Trump to sacrifice Israel on the altar of Mammon. And, I don't want to say something which might cause anti-Semitism, but Witkoff and Jared Kushner, they're Jewish. And there's a saying in New York City that 40% of the Jews are going to vote for Mamdani. So the Jews won't listen at all. The Christians, like I said before, small Christian home groups have me, and I'm blessed. I'm blessed by that. I don't mock it. But for example, the big churches, and I won't mention names. You know who I'm talking about. The big churches, they're too afraid to have me because I'm a hot potato, and the thing I'm saying could get their churches into big trouble. But yes, America is on the verge of collapse. Even if it supports Islam, or maybe because it supports Islam. That's my answer to Susan Pellegrini. We are facing a war between God and Mammon, and you have to choose. It's one or the other. And so President Trump basically is trying to play both sides of the game. Um, Today in the news in Israel, everyone's talking about, will President Trump give Israel a green light to go into Gaza to finish the job? I don't know if you heard the news today, but we received a body because they're returning bodies. They gave us bodies. The body today was from someone from Gaza, not a Jewish victim. But what did they find in the casket? They found in the casket bones from another person, a Jewish guy who was already returned. In other words, they're chopping up Jewish bodies and sending parts back in pieces. This is crazy. That's Hamas. So I would not be surprised that something happened. I don't think Israel will do anything without Trump giving the green light. And one of the things they've been saying on the Israeli media is that we are in the best situation we ever have been. We got our 20 live hostages back. We got back about 15 of the dead hostages. We still control 53% of Gaza. We could finish the job in Gaza in a few days. That's why I think when President Trump was saying on on Air Force One that that if Hamas keeps breaking its commitments, its promises, it'll be over for Hamas very quickly. And it's not the U.S. boots on the ground; it's Israel's boots on the ground. But for example, Michelle Bachmann was saying Israel paid with blood, and then President Trump wants to give it to Qatar. So Qatar will be able to do its business in Gaza. So it's really something. You listen to people, and everyone has a slightly different angle. But Michelle Bachmann was right when she said that what's this business about Israel paying with blood after we were attacked? And then after we were attacked, rewarding Hamas with Qatar's money to rebuild Gaza in the image of Qatar, when Gaza really belongs to Israel all along. So we are here, watching and waiting. I think, I mean, I'm not in the position of Netanyahu, thank God, at least not at this time. But I think it's a good thing that Netanyahu is totally synchronized with President Trump. I think President Trump is just trying to hold the candle at both ends. One end is God and one end is Qatar. It's Qatar, it's Saudi Arabia, it's Egypt, it's Turkey. It's a lot of countries that all want one thing, and that is to destroy the Jewish state. So I think that Michelle Bachmann um, did not talk at all in a way that would justify what President Trump is doing. Um, and so what I'm trying to do is give a slight different approach. President Trump, I think, understands as a businessman that you can't do business without offering something in return. So the question is he offering something in return, which would be pointing to the destruction of Israel? And so I think it's pretty fair to say that I think President Trump has a very strong conscience. He's a good Christian, a good man. He may not be a born-again evangelical from Texas, but I think he is a good man. He thinks he knows what he's doing, and it may be that, if you want to give it a grade, does he have a 70, an 80, or a 90, or 100? Okay, maybe it's not 100, maybe it's not 90, but look at what Biden did to us. Look at what the nutcase wanted to do. What's the one who almost got elected? Harris, absolute danger. And her husband is Jewish, and he's a danger. And 40% of New York is of the Jews in New York are nutcases voting for Mamdani. There are even Israelis in New York are voting for Mamdani. So we have a very, very delicate situation. Personally, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care who wins in New York City because if Mamdani wins, they said 1/3 of New York is going to buy houses and homes in Florida and get away from New York. That's the end of New York. So it's the end of New York. New York City will lead to other cities in America becoming Muslim. And what do you expect? I've been warning 35 years about the endemic takeover of the United States by Muslims and by the Qatar and Saudi and other monies that are coming in, Indonesia, spending trillions and trillions of dollars to buy up the universities, to buy out the banks and the publicity, the politicians, the military. So, sometimes I feel like really stupid because I spent 35 years of my life preaching to America and nobody's listening except for this group and a few other groups. So I am saddened and I don't want to see America go down. But maybe it's prophesied. Maybe it's prophesied that the Jews have to leave. And the Jews will never leave America as long as it's a good place to be for them. Jews will only leave when there's a Holocaust coming. And I already finished my 9th book about Turkey and the Armageddon and Holocaust. Holocaust is already in my 8th book, the renewed book about Israel's Bible block. And I'm getting ready for the elections. Until now, the immigration is nothing to speak about because there are more Israelis leaving Israel than those who are coming in now because of the war. People are tired. Not only tired, people who have children are saying we're going to go out. When the wars are over, we go back. The problem is they're jumping out of the pan and into the fire because America is going to be fire very soon. And, I have to tell you, if Mamdani wins, okay, he wins. If he loses, there's going to be a civil war in New York City. Jews are going to be massacred right and left. And the police are not going to do anything about it. Christians are going to be massacred right and left. Rachel, I don't want to blame Rachel. She even says to me, don't go back to the States anymore. America is a sinking ship. That's what Rachel says. The Muslims have won. The Jews won't listen. The Christians won't listen, except for this little small group. I mean, I love you guys to kingdom come. I'll do these Zooms every week, no matter what. But, I'll say something else also. If somebody assassinates President Trump, God forbid, civil war. And the right-wing nationalist Christians, with whom I stand, by the way, are going to massacre the Jews, who are the biggest enemies of right-wing Christian America. And the Jews haven't coming to them because the Jews are still following communist ideology from Russia from 120 years ago. And people, Jews in America, don't go to church, don't read the New Testament, don't know anything about the Christians. And so anything Christian, anything Republican, anything conservative has to be hated. It's wrong. The Jews are wrong. And it's not the first time in history the Jews choose the wrong side. You go to any synagogue and they'll tell you the Muslim religion, quote unquote, is closer to Judaism than Christianity. So we're with the Muslims. The Muslims were allies in Spain 760 years. They're crazy because the roles are reversed after the Protestant Reformation. Do you think that Jews know anything about the Protestant Reformation? Do Jews read the New Testament? Do Jews go to church? I do all these things. And I go to the Jews and it's like talking to deer with their eyes glazed over. So I love Michelle Bachmann, but she's also speaking to a very, very small remnant group. And I just hope that the Jews don't pay with blood because of these stupidity, ignorant mistakes that they're making. The synagogue where I grew up in New York, the rabbi was a liberal, he was a lefty, but he loved me and he respected my views, even though he knew I was an arch conservative. And he said to me, stop going to the Christians, go to seminary, finish your rabbinical title, become a conservative rabbi, and take over this temple after I die. And I said, no, God has commanded me to go to the Christians. And he died. So they brought in a young rabbi. And when I told him my ideas, he said, there's a synagogue down the street that has your ideas. Go. I was kicked out of my own synagogue by one of these stupid liberal rabbis. And the membership went down from 1,500 families to 600 families. So I don't, there's common sense. And Jews are so smart that, especially the left-wing Jews, they're the smartest and they have the least common sense. Aaron says, Daddy, don't say things that is going to cause anti-Semitism. It's not a question of causing anti-Semitism. The anti-Semitism is a natural response to Jewish stupidity. So we supported the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917. It was different times then. But America is not Europe. America has the Protestant Reformation, and the Protestant founders of America always blessed the Jews and loved the Jews, but we don't know about it. And we don't want to know about it. And Michelle Bachmann is a darling. She's saying exactly the things I believe. She's trying to avoid, and she's successfully avoiding, the financial needs of a president who is in an emergency situation to save America. Once I was on a radio show. You know what? You know him. The guy who used to be with Fox, what's his name? Oh, darn it, I'm having a senior moment. The
Tucker?
guy, huh?
Tucker?
No, not Tucker. This is before. Hannity.
Oh,
I was on
Fox. Yeah.
ABC radio with Hannity. And I said to him, okay, now listen carefully. I said to him, all American presidents are bribed. So he said to me, are you saying that George W. Bush is a traitor? I said, I never said he's a traitor. I said, anybody who's president of the United States has to be bribed in order to work with the Arab world. So what does he do? He goes on to the national announcements. Avi Lipkin says that President George W. Bush is a traitor. I never said he was a traitor. I said that this is part of the financial mentality of Washington. And maybe because I've seen it in so many ways and so many different times that I should probably have a heart-to-heart chat with Michelle Bachmann. America is about to collapse. America is very close to collapsing. I heard a report yesterday that America's debt is going to go from 35 trillion to 51 trillion very soon. It's like somebody throws a big heavy rock from the 120th floor and says to President Bush on the ground floor, President Trump on the ground floor, catch the rock and prevent it from crashing into the ground. 120 floors. So there's so much teaching that has to be done. And I'm dealing with Jews and Christians, all kinds of Americans who don't have a clue, don't want to know. And fortunately for me, I'm here in Israel. And so I'm waiting. I mean, I have to get my passport. So when I get my passport, God willing, I'll be back. I'm sorry. I also get depressed when I hear different reports from different people. Michelle Bachman is a very special woman. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Can you go around the 7 fronts and kind of give us an update on each?
Okay. And, again, I have to say that we had no intention ever of going back to Gaza after we left in 2006. We said, let them go to hell. Let them have Gaza, let them go to hell. They wanted a Palestinian state. They could have had a Palestinian state. But no, they're going to use the money they got from Israel, from Qatar, from other countries to build tunnels, like 1,600 miles, 1,000 kilometers of tunnels under the ground. And so now what Israel is doing, we still control 53% of Gaza. We are looking for all these tunnels and destroying them one by one. At some stage, and I know that the whole agreement is going to collapse. And then Israel is going to go into Gaza and finish the conquest of Gaza in 1 or 2 weeks. But it'll still take years to undo all the damage caused by the tunnels. The tunnels have to be completely erased, destroyed. But my point is that nobody in his worst dreams would have thought that October 7th would happen. And here they happened. And the next day, Hezbollah in Lebanon started shelling us. We had no intention of going into Lebanon, but we went in because we had no choice. And you know what? We're getting ready to go back into Lebanon now. So we're getting ready to go back into Gaza. It's all 90% over, but not over. We still have that 10%. Hezbollah, 90% over. We still have 10%. Iran. I mean, think for a moment, would President Biden have ever gone into Iran and dropped those B-2 bombs on them?
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Harris, do you know what hot water we would be in if she had won? This is God's hand that Trump is the president. And then Yemen. Yemen is also another hornet nest. And I have to tell you something. I'm pretty sure that none of you know what I'm going to say now. But if you know it, you can intervene and say, yeah, yes, I know about it. Iran and the Houthis are working now, you know where? In Sudan. There is a Holocaust going on in Sudan. There's a civil war. And the Houthis, backed by Iran and Egypt, are going into Sudan because there's lots of gold under the ground there. Gold and oil and other riches. And they're slaughtering the Sudanese. Remember Darfur? The Sudanese government killed like 1 million, starved them to death. That's Holocaust. That's genocide. Did anyone ever say anything about it? No, because it's not Israel doing the killing. Israel killed 65,000 people, more than half of which were terrorists, and the other half were unfortunate collateral damage people. And you know what they're going to do from Sudan? The Iranians are going to launch rockets and drones at Israel from Sudan. Do you know how big Sudan is? Sudan is very big. So basically, we see all these countries, in Turkey, we see all these countries preparing for the next showdown with Israel. But you know, and I know, that God is in control. And God saved us on all 7 fronts. Judea and Samaria also. Every day we are we say in Hebrew, we're cutting the lawn. The grass grows back, but we keep mowing the lawn. But I don't know if anyone heard about Sudan, let me know. But it's in the news now in Israel. My wife told me about this 2 weeks ago. It was not yet in the Israeli news. My wife is always a week or two before things get publicized. So, personally, praise God, my family is doing well. Aaron has a job with the army. In addition, his wife is running the Lipkin Tours company, and it's the whole Lipkin Tours company is getting resurrected. Now all these tours are coming to Israel. Yaakov has his job at the bank, doing very well. Rachel and I we're not rich by any means, but we're comfortable. And I'm waiting for my passport so I can go back to the States and print 2 new books. And am I crazy? I don't know. Am I wasting? I always have this feeling, am I wasting my time? And then we have elections coming up in September. Seems like elections will not be brought up. So I should have a green light for January, February, March to come to the States. And then mid-March, one of my granddaughters has a bas mitzvah. In May, another granddaughter is getting married, and in September, another granddaughter is getting married. So I don't know if and when I can travel again, but I'm going to the States hopefully to raise money so I can prepare for the party, because there's a lot I have to do to get 150,000 votes. Not easy. So, but the 7 fronts, like I said before, 90% of each front has been destroyed, but 10% is still there. And if you're a surgeon and you know that you've taken out 90% of the cancer, you still have 10% of the cancer that metastasizes. So we need a lot of prayer, a lot of loving. We need for all of you to stand with us. And never forget that Israel is your whole vindication for believing in God and believing in the Bible. Did I answer your question, dear?
Yes, thanks.
Any more questions?
Can you speak to the possibility of Turkey being involved in this international coalition peacekeeping
Israel will not agree, period.
organization?
Israel will not agree to any Turkish presence because Turkey is just as bad as Hitler and just as bad as Hamas and just as bad as the Muslim Brotherhood. We don't want to see them, because if they show up, they're going to pick a fight with us, and that's going to lead to a war with Turkey. I'm sure that President Trump is getting good advice from his advisors. Even Egypt is a problem. But maybe with Egypt, because we have diplomatic relations with them, maybe we'll let some of them in. I think the talk they were having was letting in Azerbaijan, which is a Muslim country, but it's an ally of Israel in the war against Iran, and Indonesia. So Indonesia actually wants to have relations with Israel. Indonesia is, and I spoke about this many times on these Zooms, Indonesia is the most probable Islamic country to take in Gaza Arabs. And this will probably happen after Hamas is liquidated. Hamas has to be obliterated, liquidated. They show no signs of love or wanting peace with us. Every day in our news, we watch and we cry when we hear all these stories about what they did to our people in the area surrounding Gaza, how they raped and they chopped babies up and cooked them in microwaves in front of the parents. And they killed parents in front of their children and children in front of their parents. Absolute barbarism. These people cannot be there. They cannot live alongside us. So I don't know exactly how Trump's going to do it. I think Trump is going to give the Gazans just enough rope to hang themselves. Trump is not stupid. Trump knows how to do things. But I understand Michelle Bachmann, who thinks that he's surrounded by a whole bunch of traitors. But I don't think that's the case. You can see I'm in a very good mood. Any more questions?
I can't think of any more from my side.
Yeah. Well, um, by the way, I have to say something very silly. I had a traffic accident, I think a week ago, 2 weeks ago. A small, I was broadsided, and God fixed the car. It wasn't even, it was a tough repair, but we found an Arab guy who's very recommended, very good mechanic. And I drove the car yesterday, I drove the car today. It's just like it always is, like it's like a new car as far as I'm concerned. So cost me 3,000 shekels, like $800. My mechanic, normal mechanic would take 7,000 shekels, was like $2,000. So I'm very blessed. I wasn't injured in the accident. The car was fixed. The other guy's car was fixed. No insurance, just finish it. And so I'm here with Rachel. Jakob is coming this evening. We're going to go for a TV show with Channel 14. But Jakob, poor guy, he works hard in the bank and he has all kinds of responsibilities. And so he said, we'll put it off. So it's not tonight. It'll be some other night. Whenever he says, I'll go with him. It's a TV show at 10:30, at 9 o'clock every night on Channel 14.
Avi, this is Joanne. I would just like to say that we're in a very tough spot too, because nobody wants to hear the truth from us as Christians either. And we definitely are in a minority. Even our little group, our friends and family don't even want to hear the truth of what you say. So, it's a bit depressing to us because we feel like that we don't have a voice like you feel like you don't have a voice.
Well, I have a voice with you guys.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen. Michelle Bachmann is a pioneer. She's going out in the places where they listen to her. Maybe all the work that we all did together will help to fix things. Anyway, listen, you can cry on my shoulder and I'll cry on your shoulder.
Oh, I did have one question. You talked about that more people are leaving than coming in right now. More Israelis are leaving than coming in right now. Where are they mostly going? Are they mostly going to the States?
Yeah, any country where there's no war.
That list is getting shorter.
Well, it's 21,000 came in and 80,000 left.
Wow.
And but I will tell you something. I think that I don't know. I'm just guessing now. I think the majority of the people who leave are the leftists, the socialists, who are unhappy with Netanyahu being prime minister. So actually, the right wing is getting stronger.
Hmm.
There are 70,000 yeshiva students who are not serving in the army, and there are about 100,000 left-wing socialists in Tel Aviv who got psychological release papers, that they're crazy, so as not to go to the army.
Hmm.
The army does not like to take people who are objective, conscientious objectors. If you have a problem with what Israel is doing, the Israeli army doesn't take you. So I think there are people who are saying that Israel is gone for, that it's going the right wing, it's going towards the religious, so we're leaving. The original founders of the country, who are all hardcore communists and socialists,
Hmm.
they don't feel that they fit in anymore, which is a pity because they're going to go out to America and get slaughtered there.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, it's not easy for a small country like Israel to be at war for 2 full years.
Hmm.
And really with nothing in sight for an end to the war.
Hmm. Things have not really calmed down in Lebanon.
It's not only not calmed down, you have to remember that America and France are trying to work things out with the Lebanese government. The Lebanese army is comprised mostly of Shiite soldiers who are connected to Hezbollah. So if the Lebanese government gives an order to this Lebanese army to crack down on Hezbollah, what's going to happen is all these Hezbollah soldiers, all these Shiite soldiers are going to turn their guns against the government. It'll be civil war. And what might happen, I hate to say it, is that Israel will have to go in and destroy the Lebanese army. And the Shiites will have to be forced to leave Lebanon. Otherwise, there'll never be a peace agreement. Trump wants, the Abraham Accords with Lebanon, but the Shiites torpedo it. There's no Abraham Accords. And Syria, the leader there, Ahmed Shara, Julani, he's a Sunni terrorist. He doesn't want peace with Israel. He pretends that he does, but he doesn't. Turks don't want peace, so they're fomenting trouble in Syria. I think eventually another front, which is far away, is the Kurds. The Kurds are 50 million, and they're being threatened with annihilation by the Turks. And the only thing that could stop this annihilation would be Israeli invasion of all of Syria and destruction of all the Turks. And because Qatar's with the Turks, the United States won't tolerate it. So Israel is playing it cool for now. We have to just defend the Druze. The Druze are the people we are defending. We would defend the Kurds if they declared independence and went out for total war against Turkey, in which case Israel would be sucked into a foreign, it would really be a foreign war for us.
Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment. I have to tell you, I go to bed very early. When I come to 7:30, I don't even have the strength to be up at 8 to hear the final evening news. I go to bed. Then I wake up at 4 or 5 and I put on the early morning news, and the whole day it's very unhealthy. The whole day I'm just following the news and following what's on my cell phone. Now I would like hang up with you guys. Well, another half hour, I have another Zoom, but I immediately start working on my browser, my regular computer, to erase. There's so much. I don't say junk because none of it is junk. I get like 400 emails every day with news from Washington, D.C., and news from Israel, the Middle East, and all over the world. And I read everything. Nothing escapes my attention because it's my responsibility to do these things while I'm here.
Well, I'm glad tourism has picked up.
I didn't hear you, dear.
I'm glad that tourism has picked up.
That what has picked up?
Tourism, tours in Israel.
Tourism. You know what? I have to tell you, Rachel and I were invited to King's Hotel last Shabbat, and we were with, I don't know if you heard of Derek and Sharon Gilbert. Have you heard of them?
Uh-huh.
They're Skywatch. And they've been to Israel a few times with Aaron and Etty. And Aaron and Etty asked us, could we chaperone them? Could we be with them? Could we talk to them? I gave a lecture, a Friday night sermon, and then Saturday night political lecture. He taped it. And so Skywatch will be offering the lecture I gave Saturday night. Um, and there are more groups coming. There are lots of groups coming to Israel now. And Aaron, they won't let him out of the army for anything. And so whenever he can, has free time, he works with Etty, but Etty's handling all of the incoming Lipkin tours now. We're afraid to hire new people because every time we hire people, all of a sudden COVID comes, we have to shut it down for 2 years, and then we start hiring people again, and then this war broke out, so we had to send everyone away again. Because we can't pay salaries when there's no tourism. But the tourism is coming back, so we're happy. But doing tourism in Israel is not an easy business.
Was that a wrap for today?
Okay, dear. I'm sorry. I don't want to say I'm depressed. It's not that I'm depressed. It's just the accumulation of so much frustration
Mm-hmm.
is tiring. And I
Mm-hmm.
know God is with us, and I'm happy that He is, and I'm happy that you are with us. And God is going to be with you too. But you all know it says in the Bible, I don't know where it says it, but there's going to be a remnant church. There's going to be a great falling away.
Mm-hmm. Onward and upward.
So anyway, so next week I think you guys will have the winter time also.
Yep, we'll be back to regular time for you. We're regular time in the States this week too, but for you it'll be regular time next week.
Yeah, it's okay. I was waiting for this show very much.
Mhm.
By the way, I wanted to tell you, Janice Sturkey from the Thursday Zoom came to Israel, and I don't know what happened to her. To make a long story short, she got hospitalized with fear of a heart attack. And then I said to her, from what I know of her, she's very thin and she's very frail. I said to her, you probably got dehydrated. She says, yeah, they said low sodium. Low sodium is dehydrated. So the hospital took care of her. It seems she's better. I'm supposed to do Thursday Zoom with them, but she might not yet be back in Hempstead. So
Mm.
I'll see what happens. If they want to do a show Thursday, we do a show Thursday. But if not, and this morning I did a 1 hour program with Tom Hughes in California. He was in Israel. So I did a show with them. So it's been a busy day.
Great.
I love you guys very much.
Keep up the good work.
I will, God willing. And as soon as I get my passport, I'll let you know, and I'll run to get my ticket back to Texas.
Sounds great.
Love you.